The Philadelphia Phillies, even the National League Championship Series yesterday at a game apiece. They have a 6-1 win over the Giants in Philadelphia. Game 3 is Tuesday in San Francisco. And after splitting 2 games in Texas, the American League Championship Series goes to the Bronx tonight for Game 3 between the Rangers and the Yankees in New York. And the Yankees are going to pitch Andy Pettitte, who has the most playoff wins in history. Cliff Lee gets the start for the Rangers. Lary Sorensen, who pitched for 7 major league teams, lives in Grand Rapids now and works at Diamond Sports Training Academy, teaching young people how to pitch and play baseballs with us. Good morning to you.
Michael Patrick, how are you today?
I got to ask you, first of all, about the phenomenon of the road teams winning in the early part of the playoffs. Every single road team won every single game. I mean, you could have bet that in Vegas and made $1 million.
Why didn't you then?
I didn't.
Because it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
That's why.
So how is that happening?
It's just one of those freaky things, you know. Just when you think you've got baseball figured out, it rears its ugly head and teaches you that you really don't know as much as you thought you did. And that's kind of what happened. But the visiting team goes in there hoping for a split. They hope that they can get 1 out of the 2 and then get back to their own place. So basically, what we have now is 3 out of 5.
And that's what's happened in both of the American League both of the championship series too.
Exactly, and it's just one of those weird things. Pitching is dominating, as it generally does in the postseason. Some great matchups. You mentioned Pettitte with the most wins, going for his 20th win in postseason play. To me, that's just a phenomenal statistic. Somebody asked me the other day, if you had one game you had to win, what pitcher would you choose? And I think you've got to look at Pettitte as being maybe that guy, although Cliff Lee is putting a pretty good run up on it, too.
I think when we got to the playoffs, I said the Yankees are going to make a run, aren't they? They're going to win it all again, and you disagreed. Who did you like back then? Do you remember?
Well, I wasn't sold on the Yankees completely. I like the Rangers because I think they've got a pretty good offense. Tampa Bay, I thought, was going to put up a little bit better showing, although they did come back. They played so badly their first couple of games. I like the Phillies from the get-go, just because of their pitching. You know, with those 3 guys at the top of their rotation, they're pretty tough.
I got to believe if you're a New York Yankee and you're presuming, like they probably do, that they're going to win the series, they're rooting for Philadelphia big time, because who in the world would want to travel back and forth all the way to San Francisco for the World Series?
Well, that would drag the level of play down a little bit, I think. People just don't appreciate exactly how tough that is. You know, we talk about jet lag and everything else, but until you've done it a lot, and there are a lot of business travelers out there that do it, but it's a different thing to sit in a meeting for 45 minutes and have jet lag as it is to go out there to try to play a 2-game baseball series and get your body ready to go through that. So it makes a big difference. I think that everybody in the world, especially the television networks, would like to see the Phillies and Yankees again.
Yeah, I would think so. And then plus, I don't know if they changed the starts of the games or not, but those West Coast games go pretty late.
They do, and also you have, because they're trying to get the prime time for the California people as well as trying to keep the New York people happy. And the other thing is that comes into play, and I noticed this during the game in Texas the other day when they had an odd start, is the shadows become so much a part of the game. And again, it's a little thing, but there were like 3 different sets of shadow, light, and it just makes it tough on the hitters, makes it tough on the umpires. The pitcher gets the advantage, so again, we see low-scoring games because of it.
Mike Ilitch, apparently, according to Tom Wilson, is definitely committed to building a new sports arena downtown Detroit, filling it with entertainment technology unlike anything ever seen in arenas. That's what Tom Wilson is saying, and he says it can be transformational for Detroit's entertainment scene. And that sounds like he wants to build sort of a basketball hockey version of the Cowboys' new fancy stadium there in Texas, but this is the first time I think they've gone on record in saying they're committed to the project.
Well, and I think that's great. I think it would be fabulous for the city of Detroit. The city is hurting so badly, I hope they find a way to not use any kind of public funding for it, because I don't think the city can take that on in any way, shape, or form. It's interesting about the technology, and I read a couple of articles about that, because I remember when the Tropicana field first opened up and the Tigers played down there when I was broadcasting, and they had computers at all the about 10 rows or so right behind home plate. So they probably had 40, 50, 60 computers right at the seats then, and it just didn't work. Of course, this was back in the late 90s, and we've come a long, long, long way since then, and now everybody's, you know, you can do the same thing on your telephone now. that you could do on the computers that they were putting in the stands then. But the Rays actually tried it years ago, and they ended up taking them out.
Yeah, and that place has become really passé, that Suncoast Dome, hasn't it?
It's brutal. It's just terrible. It's worse than the Metrodome ever was.
Wow. In Florida, you would expect to see sunshine in the Sunshine State, and you play in this dingy dome there in the Tampa area. Well, we'll talk again as we get through the playoffs, and good luck with you, Lary Sorensen, there at Diamond Sports Training Academy in Grand Rapids.
Thank you, Michael. Look forward to talking to you.
You bet. 14 before the hour. Pitched in an all-star game, Lary Sorensen.